Today's lesson is taken from Matthew 15, verses 21 through 28. Then Jesus went north to Syria, and a pagan woman came out and kept shouting after him, "Sir, help me, Son of David, my daughter is possessed by an evil spirit." But then Jesus was as if he was deaf. So the disciples had to ask him, "Get rid of her, we don't need this noisy distraction." He answered them, "I was only sent for the lost sheep of Israel." Now on her knees, she continued begging, "Sir, please, please help me." He told her, "It is not appropriate to take food from children and throw it to dogs." "You are right, sir," she answered. "But even dogs are allowed to eat whatever falls under the table of their masters." After that, he just said, "Oh, woman, your faith is something else. May your wish be granted." And from that very moment, her daughter was well.
20 years ago, I was a mission partner in residence with the denominational headquarters of Presbyterian Church USA. And in February, I was in Santa Fe, participating in the final training of Presbyterian missionaries right before they were sent out to their mission fields. Some were ministers, of course, and also doctors and nurses and administrators, teachers and educators. They were going to Africa, Southeast Asia, Central and South Americas. Because of my education and my academic training, I was asked to prepare a Bible class, probably not good for anything else, and for these soon-to-be missionaries. I picked up for the Bible class our today's biblical reading. It was a natural choice, and I will explain. In the gospel story, Jesus is also going abroad from his home in Galilee to Syria, or he would today say Lebanon. And he is also meeting with locals. A local woman is in need of help. Emphatically, we are also told that that woman was not Jewish, that she was pagan. Different Gospels explain it differently. In Gospel of Mark, she is Hellenistic woman. Here in Gospel of Matthew, if you read exact wording from the Greek, she is Canaanite. But that means the same thing. She is a pagan woman. Some Jews would not have anything in common with Goyim, with Gentiles, with pagans. Back then, and it actually happened several times, even to my wife, doctor, where she was turned down because she was a woman by a Jewish patient. Jesus was clearly caught in the same mentality, and he acts like some Jewish jerk, influenced by his national prejudice against pagan Syrians, and it gets even worse. Have you noticed the arrogant, "It is not appropriate to take food from children and throw it to dogs"? That is a clever smack. Without using the word, he actually called her a bitch. But that is not the end of this story. Because the main character here is not Jesus, but the woman. She overcame his smug prejudice and arrogance. And she even used for it her own pagan religion. From my knowledge of Canaanite religion, I could point out to our soon-to-be missionaries that she loosely referenced a pagan Syrian myth. We know it only in fragments, but it was clearly circulating back then. It is about a big feast of Syrian gods after they went for a hunt. The feast was also attended by a moon god, Yarich. And he came in that feast in the form of a dog. And some gods kept kicking him under the table, while those who treated him well were rewarded with medicine and healing after this feast when they had hangover. It is a common folk trope. Don't kick those below you, not even dogs, because things can change. And they can offer you a valuable service. Pagan woman used pagan myth and its deep wisdom to overcome Jesus' original arrogance. And Jesus had enough presence of the Spirit, enough decency, enough style, and divine noblesse to recognize it and to accept and to change. I thought it was a perfect preparation and inspiration for the outgoing missionaries, but especially for a missionary doctor with his family somewhere from the Bible Belt, probably Kansas, if I remember correctly. This was too much. It was too difficult medicine to swallow. In the Bible class discussion, he, but also others, had 100 different objections to this story. The one was just using common observation. We all have seen dogs under tables. Jesus was not overcome by pagan myth, although I can quote it. Syrian myth by Syrian woman, and fitting better than just regular observation about dogs under the table. She could not be pagan if she had trusted in Jesus. That was another objection. And Jesus was only pretending his xenophobic bigotry. It was just to allow the faith of that woman to come out, to be acknowledged. Because isn't Jesus, after all, all-knowing and omniscient? And anyhow, we know that Jesus was without sin. How could I even hint that he used such a slur? It must be just some textual or other misunderstanding. They clearly missed the most beautiful dynamic drama of this story. Healing itself is just a secondary miracle here. True miracle is this dynamic nature of Jesus. True miracle is that Jesus can be wrong. He can be wrong and is able to acknowledge he had been wrong. He can be wrong and change, correct, to evolve. There is a number of instances where God evolves and changes divine mind throughout the Bible. A number of times we hear that God regretted over evil which God had planned to do. And the Hebrew word which is used for that and translated, regretted, is actually more and better translated as repented. So think about God repenting. I did not have much success 20 years ago with the fundamentalist missionaries we were sending out. But I hope some of my Bible class stuck with them. And maybe, just maybe, when they were challenged by just and honest pagans, by the just and honest pagans, maybe they remembered. Our God is the living God, changing, reacting, not like a piece of granite. God is evolving. And for all of us, it is all right to change, to evolve, to grow our faith, to acknowledge that we were amiss, that we made a mistake, we were in a train of prejudice in some time or the other. It is all right to change, to evolve, and grow our faith. God leads us by the example. And God changes in relationships with us. And that is a good news, true gospel of this story.